chiều hôm nay chúng ta cùng đến với vấn đề quy hoạch vị tính bền vững, và trong thời gian còn lại của buổi chiều chúng ta sẽ cùng đến với hai đề tài, đó là quy hoạch không gian nước tại Cù Lao Chàm và núi điện Hội An, ý tưởng về hành lang di sản trên biển. Và đề tài thứ hai đó chính là vấn đề kinh tế sáng tạo và đa dạng văn hóa tại Hội An mở rộng, và sau đó sẽ là phần tọa đàm trao đổi và tổng kết ngày hội thảo đầu tiên của chúng ta. Và bây giờ thì chúng tôi xin được mời toàn thể quý vị cùng đến với đề tài quy hoạch không gian nước tại Cù Lao Chàm và núi điện Hội An, ý tưởng về hành lang di sản trên biển, do kiến trúc sư Monty Tejam, kiến trúc sư trưởng kiến trúc viện phát triển bền vững FOS trình bày. Xin được mời quý vị và các bạn cùng theo dõi.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is not by coincidence that worldwide climate change has become a major international issue at precisely the same time and the same pace as urbanization. As climate changes, the threat from extreme natural disturbances has increased. There are some skeptics on climate change who say that changes in weather patterns are but cyclical in nature. Unfortunately, many of these skeptics have not and will never experience typhoons, floods, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, or tsunamis in their lifetime. And even if they did experience these natural disasters, it is personally irrelevant. The United Nations International Strategy for Disaster Reduction estimates that in Vietnam, 84% of all disaster deaths between 2000 and 2005 were all flood related. It also reports that the number of floods have increased from 60 to 100 per year between 2004 and 2006. In the future, we are expecting further rise in sea level, coastal erosion, salt water contamination of fresh water sources, potentially more powerful typhoons, aside from further human pressure on the environment. We know that if sea levels rise by just 1 meter, many major coastal cities in Vietnam, such as Hoi An, will be severely affected. As more and more people are drawn daily to an urban magnet like Hoi An, more and more people will be affected by natural disasters. Hoi An is the highest density city in Vietnam with 12,000 people per square kilometer. Hoi An is located in an alluvial plain of the Tu Bon River that is characterized by intertwining water channels and low-lying terrain. In Hoi An and Cù Lao Chàm, it is the urban poor who live in the most dangerous places, most vulnerable to the impacts of a disaster. The health consequences of a city's water and sanitation system being contaminated and placing hundreds of thousands of people at risk is just unimaginable. Whether or not local governments are signatories of an international climate agreement, they have to be considered partners and allies of the national government when it comes to implementation. It is time to understand how nature really works and how to make nature work in Hoi An's favor. In various meetings we have attended, many initiatives underline the need for international and national decision-making processes to integrate cities and climate change agenda. But many of the answers lie in a rational, people-centered urban planning process. However, we feel that normal urban planning concepts and paradigms are not enough for Hoi An and Cuu Lao Cham. We believe there must be more. Than just correct land use planning. Hoi An and Cuu Lao Cham needs urban planning that will help mitigate the effects of climate change and will revitalize these two areas into one of the best cultural and biological centers of the world. In order to do that, however, we need to introduce a new additional planning paradigm, which is not only applicable to Hoi An and Cuu Lao Cham, but also to all marine-based cities of Vietnam. Hoi An's demise as one of the most important trading ports for many centuries in Asia was due to the Tu Bon River slowly being choked with silt to the point that it became too narrow and too shallow for navigation. This undeniable fact was the major cause of Hoi An losing its prominence in the late 19th century. If the Tu Bon River was the cause of Hoi An's obscurity, it is also the Tu Bon River that will restore Hoi An to its former glory. The key point in this new planning paradigm for Hoi An and Cuu Lao Cham is through the extensive and multi-use strategy of its existing marine or water spaces. We call it the Marine Spatial Planning Paradigm. The Marine Spatial Planning Paradigm is a planning concept that relates to ecosystem-based, marine-based spatial management. It is a process of analyzing and designating the spatial and temporal distribution of human activities in marine areas to achieve ecological, economic, and social objectives. It is a planning tool to manage the multiple use of marine or water body spaces, especially in areas where there are conflicts among users and the environment. The marine spatial planning paradigm will not only help rejuvenate Hoi An tremendously, but will synergize Cuu Lao Cham and Hoi An together, creating not one, but two outstanding biological and cultural powerhouses. Cuu Lao Cham, as we know, is a World Biosphere Reserve. Now, the strategy is to use the marine spatial paradigm to significantly develop the Tu Bon River in the context of a marine heritage corridor. This will be the first of its kind in the world. The marine spatial planning paradigm will have 5 technical principles.